In fact, here is Nancy Pelosi. Here's her big idea for the pandemic. You know, people lose their health care when you lose your job. So people are losing their job now because the government says you have to close down all your businesses. So you think the government would also say, and by the way, because we're doing this, everyone's going to get Medicare. What is that? You go to the hospital and they take care of you. Any hospital I want? Yes. Any hospital you want. Any doctor? Yes. What about the co-pays? No. So that's what Trump did for anybody who's suffering from coronavirus. They just expanded Medicare to cover that. So what the Democrats should be doing is fulfilling Harry Truman's dream and of Medicare for all. We've been trying to get universal health care since FDR. So here we are, and this is the perfect time to do that. So what the Democrats should be saying is, okay, well, if you lose your health care, we're going to expand Medicare to cover you. This is all about health care and us tying it to your job, and now people realize, well, people should just give you the, all that stuff I said. Well, the government should just give you health care then, right? Hey, the government's making you close your business. Your health care is tied to your employment. The government should give you health care. Nancy Pelosi came up with an even worse idea. Nancy Pelosi's idea, you ready? What it is? Democrats' big coronavirus idea is to subsidize health insurers. Instead of pushing for the public health solutions, Democrats want to cover COBRA premiums. Democrats' big coronavirus idea is to subsidize health insurers. Instead of pushing for public health solutions, Democrats want to cover. There it is again. Vox reported on Tuesday that House Democrats are going to push for a bill to fully cover premiums for COBRA, a health insurance program that allows workers to keep buying into their employer-sponsored plans after they are laid off. COBRA has been around since the mid-1980s, but the program got extra subsidies during Congress's 2009 economic stimulus bill, when it covered about 65% of laid-off persons' health insurance premium costs. Why just 65%? Why not 100? Because we still want you to suffer. It is America. Still, lawmakers later found that wasn't enough to get people on board with the program if their costs were still too high. The Worker Health Coverage Protection Act would expand that to 100% coverage, both for laid-off workers and furloughed ones. In the case of laid-off employees, the new COBRA subsidies would cover both the employee and the employer portion of the premium costs. In the case of furloughed workers, the bill would just cover the cost of the employee's premiums because the employer would continue to pay in as well. So this is Vice commentary on it, which I thought was actually very good, so I'll read it to you. It says, but subsidizing overpriced premiums just sends money directly to private insurers and providers without eliminating deductibles or copays. It also does nothing to help the millions of people who never had employer-sponsored health insurance in the first place. Instead, Democrats could simply push to expand a public system like Medicaid, which would help cover people regardless of whether or not they had employer-sponsored insurance in the past. Or they could push for an emergency version of Medicare for all, as Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal are proposing, which would reimburse all out-of-pocket costs for all necessary treatments during the pandemic, without lining the pockets of private insurers. So Trump is already doing a small version of that. I just expanded to everybody during the pandemic. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's good to hear that Pramila Jayapal and Bernie Sanders are introducing this legislation, that they're working on that right now. Now you know that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are against it. So now we'll see how vocal the progressives in Congress are going to be about pushing this. This is their moment. Because if you give a temporary Medicare for all, it's just like if you make marijuana illegal for medical reasons, it's going to become it's that same thing. So if you give people Medicare for all, you can never take it away. And that's why they're not doing it. Because they want you to still be under the thumb of private insurers. Why? Because Nancy Pelosi is a corrupt criminal who would gladly inflict pain on you at the behest of her donors. That's why. Not because Nancy Pelosi thinks this is a better way to do it. She's doing it this way to line the pockets of her friends, her millionaire. She's a 100 millionaire herself. How do you become a millionaire while you're in government? You're a crook. This is part of her being a crook. This isn't her governing. This is her implementing corruption. Because everyone knows what the solution is here. So this idea that vote for Nancy Pelosi or Democrats and that makes things better, they're actually worse. So they go on to say, but Democrats, listen, this is awesome. But Democrats went with private health insurers, which sent a letter asking. So the private health insurance companies, they sent a letter to Congress asking Congress to fully subsidize COBRA premiums during the pandemic. Meaning the Democratic Party literally did what they were told. They were waiting for the health insurance industry to tell them what to do. They told them what to do, and Nancy Pelosi's doing it. So now, if you're a progressive lawmaker in Congress or the Senate, you'd have to call out Nancy Pelosi right now. You'd have to say, this is what's happening. They're screwing you. This is horrible. We're in unbelievable dire consequences right now, in circumstances, and Nancy Pelosi's still beholden to the corporation over the people. And you got to say it. It won't be said, so you're not getting it. I could never have thought that they would do this. COBRA, which again doesn't cover people who large medical. Did I read all that? Yeah. Large medical insurers are one of the few industries in the country right now that aren't worried about the coronavirus recession. Did you know that? Health insurance companies doing well right now. We're not expecting a material financial impact, a top Cigna executive said at a recent healthcare conference. The reasoning is that any expensive treatments related to coronavirus will be offset by the delay or cancellations of elective procedures. So right now, because the hospitals are jammed with coronavirus people, other patients who can wait are waiting. So the health insurance companies aren't having to actually spend extra money right now. In fact, I bet they're making more because those beds that are being filled up with coronavirus patients are being paid by the government. They're not even paying for those people. So I'll go back. I'll read it again. The reasoning is that any expensive treatments related to coronavirus will be offset by the delay or cancellations of elective procedures. And if they aren't, insurers will just raise premiums next year. What are you going to do? Go fuck yourself. We own your legislators. You want to see a doctor? Pay me. You want medicine for your kid? Pay me. Fuck you. Pay me. That's what this country is. It's like we're run by the mafia at Big Pharma, the mafia at Wall Street, the mafia at the health insurance company, the mafia at Raytheon. So insurers will just raise premiums next year, and Americans will continue to have to pay them no matter what because they don't want to die. And your legislators aren't going to give you health care. They're going to deliver you to the health the health extorters. That's what your legislators are going to do. They're going to deliver you to them. And you are not going to see, I'm going to make a prediction. Let's see. Should I predict this? Yeah, I'll make, my predictions, most of them come wrong. Don't come true. But the prediction I made about the Mueller report, 100% true, 100% right, which is the big one. What do you think's going to happen, Steph? Let's talk about it. Do you think that they're going to go ahead with this ridiculous COBRA plan?
Absolutely.
Or do you just, I think
absolutely.
I think so too.
I think if you just tell me this will hurt people, that's what they're going to vote for. This will allow a company to continue to profit off of the blood, sweat, and tears of the working class. That's what they're going to vote for.
And do you think that Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown, Ro Khanna, or any member of the squad will call Nancy Pelosi out for this, for doing the wrong thing on health care right now?
Oh, I already know for sure Ro Khanna won't.
I know that
because Ro came out and said, no, he won't speak out against Nancy Pelosi. I believe he said that on the show. I already know AOC is not going to counter Dick Pelosi, and certainly Bernie Sanders isn't.
So I predict no one will. The only person who might say something is probably some kind of libertarian or something. Why should he'll say, why should we subsidize private business? They're not adding value to this process. I don't know. Maybe they would say that. I don't know. I'm sure they'd be against Medicare for all too, aren't they? They don't want the government taking care of stuff. I bet they're for that private insurance stuff. So disregard everything I just said about the libertarian. Who knows? I mean, there's no opposition. So that's what I'm really saying. And let's see. So I'll see. And I'm going to say, I hope I'm wrong. But I bet nobody calls out Nancy Pelosi for this garbage. I mean, anybody in the Democratic Party. They all should be. The Progressive Caucus, I put the fake quotes around that, Progressive Caucus. There's 90 members of them, 90. I don't know how progressive you are when you vote for that garbage $4.2 trillion giveaway. I don't know how progressive you can call yourself. What's the point of you being there? There's no point. So we'll see. I predict no one will. No one will cross Nancy Pelosi on this and call her out and say this is horrible. This is a bad idea. There's a much better idea. And Nancy Pelosi's doing this because she's in the back pocket of health insurance companies. This was a missive written by them. So we'll see. That's my prediction. There's your vote blue. It's amazing. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?